Hello everyone, welcome back to a new YouTube cast. Today we're going to be having a look in the bottom right spawning as the blue pro. That's going to be Demauer. In the top left it's going to be quite a legendary player called To Isengard. Now, To Isengard is, of course, for the people not aware, is me. And Demauer is ShoWTimE. So it's going to be me against ShoWTimE from a recent ladder game that I played. That was an interesting one. So all the other replays have gone poof, as the new patch broke every single replay. Usually you could at least still load them, but in the new patch for some reason that's not possible anymore. So I needed some replays. I figured, you know, might as well do some of my own, some of the longer games. So perhaps in the upcoming few days we're gonna see more of me winning, me losing, and me making a fool of myself. Now, I've done one replay of myself before, and I kept referring to myself as Harstem in the third person, or as him, which people didn't seem to like. So I'm just gonna just gonna call myself me or I, and here I went. So if that bothers you, feel free to leave a comment about it. But let's hop into the game. So both players opening up with a 2-gate expand. I went Stalker Stalker. ShoWTimE also went for Stalker Stalker. He actually went 4 times Stalker. Now, one of the reasons could be because he is not aware of what my proxy pylon is doing exactly. He knows there's a proxy pylon, but he's not quite sure what it's doing. Is it just a proxy pylon? Is there a robo there? That kind of stuff. So, proxy pylon gets spotted. I managed to find his Stalker, as I'm not afraid of any proxy pylons on the map, so I'm not looking for any pylons whatsoever. Get his first Stalker for free, and I decide to put in a little bit of a chase here. Go up to that natural base, see if there's anything I can do. I walk a bit too deep and take major damage from one of my Stalkers. I think I might end up actually losing this one. Yeah, there we go. So, one Stalker from one Stalker, both of us making a mistake there. So, a little bit silly. Now, I still want to try to fake some pressure on him, of course. He doesn't know what I'm building behind it. I'm getting sentry. He's also getting sentry. But usually when you're the aggressor and you have the map control, you can make your opponent a little bit more afraid. Now, my micro here is slightly better. You see he has a lot more damage on his Stalkers already. But once I see these 2 sentries pop out, I know it's time to go back home. I see that he has a battery, so ideally I don't want to build a battery. Now, something you can do is you can build a battery just as you start your hallucination, and then once your hallucination arrives and you see nothing that scares you, you can cancel the battery, which is kind of a cool play. Save 75 minerals. Most of the time you're gonna need a battery later on anyway, but that's something we can talk about another time. I decided to warp in 2 adepts from my proxy pylon. The reason I warped them from there and not from here is because they have a smaller chance of being spotted from there. They also hit quite quick like this. So I hope he's not ready. You shade in and then he pray to God that he's not in time with his pylon, which he's not this time. Now he does already have 2 Stalkers in the main base. He gets a good warp in as well, 2 good warp ins. So this could have gone for maybe 5 or 6 workers, but now only ends up getting 2, which is not the biggest of deals. Obviously, you see a couple of workers are not working properly either. Worker count relatively even, and ShoWTimE Stalker count is slightly higher. Is also slightly up in blink. We see a 3rd gate on the way. We see a 4th gate on the way. Wouldn't surprise me if we see a 4th come down soon as well. Now there is of course 2 sentries for each player, so there's good scouting information. Something that's really popular since the new battery has been introduced is the 4-gate blink into 3 base. Now, I walk onto the map, I'm like, I think I can take off a Stalker here, but I don't think I should have taken my sentries. It's a little bit risky, and I was really afraid that his blink was about to finish up. So, also a little bit slow at moving back home, I have to admit. Here we see me just bumming around, really doing nothing. And I'm so afraid of blink, because I saw his Twilight was so fast, so I decided to just recall, costing me 1 Stalker. So once again, a 1 Stalker for 1 Stalker trade. Blink scaring me, so I managed to build a battery. Then we see a 4-gas, blink, robo, into a forge here, and then a 3rd base coming out of ShoWTimE. So very conservative play by him with that 4-gas as well, allowing him to be able to get into that charge, allowing him to most likely be getting into yeah, into those Archons as well a little bit better than I am, because I only have a single gas. Now my plan here was to get a single Immortal and then to transition either into Colossi or into Disruptors and to kind of play it out from there. So we'll see what the better approach is here. So the game is pretty even, both of us have similar third timings. Now at this point I scouted this third location, I'm like, huh, there's no third there, that's very odd. So I was not aware of this base because I thought everyone would for sure take this base, right? It seems like such a nice little pocket here, and you don't have to give up any kind of high ground, where if you're down here and the Protoss player rotates from over here to this area and you're not in position in time, that could be a lot of trouble. Now ShoWTimE kind of misjudges this position a little bit. He loses 2 Stalker, I only lose 1, so that's definitely a good trade for me. We see Charge on the way. Now at this point I believe that even if you're playing RoboBay, you should still be researching charges. It's such an important upgrade. So I've kind of come to the understanding that getting a 4th gas, even if you're a RoboBay player in this case, I think is still probably worth it. You're gonna get a higher Stalker count a lot of the time. You want to be able to afford those zealots as well. So you see 4 gas or 4 gates for both players still, I have to say. 4 gates for me, 4 gates for him. Here comes the Templar Archives that ShoWTimE wanted. Now the reason why we're not building gates is because both of us realize that we're going pretty hard on economy. It's going to be difficult to kill the other player. So instead what we decide to do is we decide to play pretty slow, pretty patiently, and we're just going to be going for some kind of for some kind of eco boost rather than these extra gateways. And especially for me that is the case because I'm getting a lot of disruptors right now, which is, you know, another production facility basically, so I don't really need to go up to 8 gates anyway, ever. 6 gates or 7 gates are going to be enough. Perhaps 6 gates, 2 robo is going to be my my poison of choice here. So I start moving out across the map, trying to apply some damage. Now the reason you want to do that is if you have a bigger Stalker count than your opponent and you have an Immortal, it becomes very difficult for your opponent to blink into you to clear disruptors. And I know I have 20 Stalkers against 12. I have 1 Immortal, which means blink-ins for him will be difficult. So I can now exercise a little bit of my map control and try to do some poking damage. Don't forget, disruptors basically allow me free damage without actually having to trade. Whenever a shot lands, that's, you know, that's pretty big, because that's damage that I will, you know, I don't need to pay for. It's not a trade, it's just a bullet. It's like shooting something without it being able to shoot at you. Now I managed to get into a good position here on the high ground, which is what I was kind of alluding to earlier. He is getting a faster +2 than me, but I'm getting a way faster Dark Shrine. I have spotters all around the map. We still leave a Stalker over here, as he's setting up some flanks, which is really cool because it's difficult for me to find the exact movement here, and he knows that. So I move down thinking his entire army is over here. I try to zone him with bullets, and all of a sudden here's a flank from ShoWTimE, managing to get some pretty decent hits. I get some good disruptor shots as well, but now all of a sudden I'm in a little bit of trouble. I recall both of my disruptors, neither of them actually make it out. Now all of a sudden I only have 18 Stalkers and he has 9 Stalkers, 15 Zealots and 1 Immortal left, so not a lot left for me to work here with. Dark Shrine is about to be done, which is nice, but I guess I also have a fort base, which is kind of a big deal. But we see he's aggressively warping in. It's 16 Stalkers against 19 right now, and he's just up 30 supply. I mean 30 army supply, there's what, 15 extra Zealots, there's 2 Archons. It's gonna be one hell of a shot, or it has to be, so I try to delay this shot as long as I can, and I decide it's time to do some counter harass with DTs, because a lot of the time when people move out and just after an attack or after a fight we just had, they're not really ready for DTs. They don't expect the DTs to be there, so here comes ShoWTimE moving forward. Good first. This good first disruptor shot. This was obviously not the way to use the battery cannon, as it's not really gonna do too much here. Now at this point I realize with my observer, wait a second, there's no observer here for him. My first DT starts doing work. These 3 bad boys start doing work as well. I decide to right click on this nexus with the battery. Does manage to heal it, especially with the battery overcharge. Now I get a couple of workers, which is nice. I have a fort base still up, so all of a sudden that fight where he didn't have detection and he needed to recall to save his third base ended up being pretty okay for me. This allows me some map control now as well. We see ShoWTimE is a little bit afraid to blink forward, of course, with those disruptors being around. Still managed to save the Stalker, which is annoying, but not the end of the world. And now I actually have a little bit of map control here. We have 71 workers for me and only 58 for him. Now he's still up in upgrades. I forgot to start my +2. I actually thought I lost my forge and decided to build a second forge, which wasn't completely necessary, but at least I'm getting double upgrades. Gonna get a couple of cannons, batteries, afraid of counterattacks with Dark Templar here from ShoWTimE. Does not seem to be the case. I lose one Dark Templar for free. I think I lost the Dark Templar up here as well. He has good spread of his units. He's not completely aware of where my army is, but he's trying to figure out by sending zealots on the map, by spreading stuff out, maybe even using some sentry energy. No, he does not have sentry energy. No, we have three observers. We see this observer is well, it's not actually about to die, is it? No, I missed it. Oh, I didn't realize that in the game. Now, ShoWTimE is moving out here. I realize I pull back my DT. This is kind of like an observer, but faster and more expensive. Also, it doesn't fly, so maybe not the greatest alternative. One stalk here for spotting, one probe here for spotting, so I have full vision of his army movement. I know he's splitting up. Now the thing is, at this point I still think I'm behind. I'm not aware of what my standing is in the game exactly. So I'm very, very afraid to make any plays here. Now, if I look at it like this, I actually think that I am in a good spot, of course. If you're not counting the lack of upgrades, where I'm actually doing kind of fine here. I think if we have one big army fight, he might even be in a little bit of trouble. And I wouldn't mind seeing me transition into Colossi at this point, because the moment Stargates come out, disruptors become a lot worse. So for now I'm just keeping a split army, 2 split armies, making sure that I'm not getting killed by run-bys. I'd love to see a 5th base for me. ShoWTimE is maybe thinking of a 5th base as well, but I have a DT planted there. My map control in general is a little bit better than his. Probably because I'm a bit richer as well. He probably is more aware of the current position of the game. He knows how much money he has. He knows how well he is doing. Now, this is by no means over, but I do think it's a small lead for me. I have a lot of disruptors, which he doesn't have a hard counter for yet. A lot of the time, if you have a big army like he has, you can split it in 2. You can kind of fight with a good flank, but with Phoenixes, it really becomes possible to fight, and that's when it becomes important. So now we have 5th base on the way as well. We still have this DT. Very quick moves here. Managing to find that pylon as well. I'm starting to get a little bit ballsy. I believe I have something of value here. One Archon, a couple more shots. All 3 of them go out actually, and I make a little bit of a movement mistake. Instead of going to the left side here, I decide to go down the ramp. Not realizing he had a sentry that he can use the force field. He misses first force field, but manages to pick up 2 disruptors. And then we have a zealot run by, not doing too much either. My 5th base is going up and his 5th was delayed. Once again, the DT on that location is doing some work. Moving forward now, we see a lot of Phoenixes. This is the first time he shows the Phoenixes. I was not aware of those earlier, so it's a little bit of an issue here. 2 big bullets and a lot of these Archons, so some pretty good damage is being done here. Perhaps I managed to get, yeah, 1 Archon still dies. Now at this point there's 4 disruptors and 9 Phoenixes, meaning he can definitely lift every single disruptor there is. As a result, what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna do a big run by with DT Zealot into his 3rd base, where I believe I might be able to kill something, and at the same time I send this into his 4th. Now, the reason why I think I can survive this is because of battery overcharge and the cannons I have there, and because he's not quite aware how much I actually have. So I actually walked to the wrong base here, because this only has 1 cannon. It does have a battery for overcharge. You see, overcharge is going to be doing some real work in here as well, most likely, if I actually ever end up using it. You see, some real work is being done here. Now, we have this base being taken out, this base is being taken out as well, and start focusing on the battery is 100% the correct call. Some DTs are putting in some damage over here as well. This army starts moving back now, realizing it has pretty much done his job. And I really want to secure my my own natural again, I realize I'm most likely gonna lose it, but I mean, it is completely possible that if I manage to secure it, I get my +3, I keep my gateways up, and I'm still on 5 base technically, or on 4 bases. I mean, this base was almost mined out anyway. He decides to recall back home. We still have a bunch of zealots that I didn't end up getting. I didn't even realize that in the moment. I was just so focused on these phoenixes. I mean, he has 3 stargates and can rebuild them, but his income is very low at this point. He only has a single base remaining. Now his army still looks pretty healthy, like 4 phoenixes. He has these disruptors. Now he can't recall because he just used it. I'm aware of that, so this DT is a good spotter. Quick blink forward might be able to do something here. Gotta be a little bit quicker than this if you want to get something done. And I also actually leave 2 of my disruptors in the middle of the map, which is a big mistake. 2 bullets will move forward. Let's get a shot off. Now this is pure Stalker against Archon Stalker Zealot. We have 1 more disruptor shot. We'll be able to have a decent hit on 2 of those Archons. Once the Archons fall, there's actually not a lot of things to deal with these Stalkers. So I blink forward, decide to trade out with these Stalkers. And I hope for the best. Still need to do it in a kiting manner because there's a lot of stuff. I think in theory I should be able to chase here, but blinking forward is always quite scary if there's charge shots involved. Here we go indeed. And I'm not quite sure if I should be chasing or if I'm able to chase here, as army supply is really even. I'm slightly up in upgrades at this, but actually it's even upgrades. I didn't quite realize that. Phoenixes are being sniped. Now I'm heavily outmining him by 600-700 minerals a minute. I'm not quite aware of it because I haven't scouted this base in a while. I haven't checked his 5th base in a while. And I for sure thought he was going to be rebuilding that. So I just get my extra gas. I have my natural back up and running. Gonna be going up to a higher worker count. Very low saturation on this base, I have to admit. It's probably a mistake. Getting extra gases here. Colossi are starting as well. You know, I have 1 zealot going here. I'm like, huh, okay, he doesn't have a 5th. So at this point, I go into a defensive mindset. I'm like, if he doesn't have a 5th, that probably does mean that if I defend my 5th, I'm gonna be in a good spot. So all I'm gonna do is now just keep rotating in order to defend my base. That's all I really want to do. What he wants to do is he wants to rotate in order to kill one of my bases and force a fight that I don't want. So he wants a clear vision of me. And then from there on out he wants to basically get a fight. Now, I'm not quite sure if he's actually here. I just gambled a little bit there, which I gambled correct. Makes me happy to see. Get 1 of these observers, try to snipe a 2nd one. 3rd observer comes in. I think I will be able to snipe that as well, because don't forget, earlier I basically won the game because I cleared the DTs. Now, here at my Zealot run by, I end up seeing that there's no 4th base even. So at this point I'm like, hey, wait a second. I really don't need to do anything in this game. Really all I need to do is defend. He realized it as well, sees the Colossi, and GG is out as I manage to win this beautiful game against ShoWTimE. Alright, now, if you did enjoy that, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to smash the like button and watch some more videos. And I'll see you all next time for perhaps another replay of myself. Love you all, and bye bye.